What's up, Final fans? What better way to kick off Final Fantasy VII Rebirth content for the Warrior of Hype than with a detailed map analysis video? What we're looking at right now is the Ever Crisis World Map. This is the most detailed look we've ever gotten of the Final Fantasy VII World Map. It is so detailed, in fact, that I think it wouldn't be outlandish to consider this a asset directly pulled from Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. We could be looking at the world map for the Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy. And the reason why is, well, that's what this video is about. I'm going to place screenshots of the trailer at Summer Game Fest. I'm going to place screenshots on this world map and try to pinpoint exactly where they are. And it kind of ties in with some interesting questions raised on how this world map will be handled. And we'll talk about that in a different video in this series. But for now, let's take a look at some screenshots from Final Fantasy VII Rebirth trailer at Summer Game Fest. I'm going to activate that now. Here we go. I've placed them on the map. First things first, I've located several different locations here from Final Fantasy VII that my computer thinks I'm spelling wrong. But anyways, here's Calm. Calm is right here. Midgar's right here. We all know this, right? But why do I think Calm is exactly right here? We're going to zoom in and take a look at this screenshot. One thing I want you to note, what I want you to pay attention to, is this little jut out of land right here. That jut out of land. And I'm going to shrink this up a little bit. Okay, that's about as small as it goes. All right, so there we go. This little jut out of land right there, okay? It's like a Y shape. And then over here, same thing. We're running down. I tilted the angle of the picture to kind of show you this little jut out of land there. And then over here, same thing. It's that Y shape jut out of land. I've said jut out a couple times now, but here it goes. Right there. It's Y shaped. It's right there. That is the area in which they are looking at right there. And you can see they're running down this path, exiting Calm, running down this path, heading this way. That's where I've gotten them there. So they're heading towards the Chocobo farm, which is quite a distance away. Now, what we don't see in these pictures is how much of a distance is the goal, in which I'm almost very confident, I'm almost 100% confident is the Chocobo farm, but it just says goal for now, and that might mean when the goal is just set. I mean, they are just now exiting the, exiting Calm. The player is just now in control. Of this open world, and I think it just says goal for a couple seconds, and then maybe it'll switch over to the actual destination distance. But yeah, we'll come back to that in just a moment, because they have quite the distance to travel from here all the way over to the Chocobo farm. Now, I placed the Chocobo farm right here, as it was in the original Final Fantasy VII. Exactly a little bit further in from the mountain L shape, or right there, that little angled shaped mountain. The Chocobo farm is placed right there. Now, what is different is there wasn't a river running through the original map, but it does kind of tie in with with Crisis Core that had a river running through. So let's zoom in to the Chocobo farm here. Now, this river coming in, I believe we are looking at that river right there, but they're facing the mountains, so let's keep that in mind. They're facing the mountains, so they're probably tilted this way. And you can see that river right there. It lines up nicely with that facing the mountains. Now, let's get into it right here. This is a very interesting landmark. I have it tilted this way, so that way you can visualize that they're facing this mountain range, and then there's this river that's running down, that I think what we're seeing here, this little curved river, and we're looking inwards at the this landmark, this this interesting mountain range, in which I'm going to rotate that around now to kind of show you. Pay attention to this right here. This little V shape, right? That V shape. I think I found it. If this world map is an asset pulled directly from Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, there it is. There's the V shape right there, and you can even see it even has these little zigzags right there. So that kind of splits right down the mountain. So I had originally thought this was the entrance to the Mithril Mines, but it's on the side of the mountain range. That's what's interesting. And then earlier on we saw this, and this is kind of nestled, this little ruins area is nestled by that mountain range. So I've kind of placed this picture, I've kind of placed it here looking down that way. I just kind of placed it there. I'm not exactly sure, but I'm almost positive this is that V-shaped, very interesting mountain range. Now, the entrance to the Mithril Mines is, of course, through the swamp over here. And I've got this little fight scene that happens here. It takes place in a marshy area. Like this is very wet in the in that trailer. So this is the marshes, and this right here is, I mean, you can kind of see the this little wet area right there. Let me go back here so I can draw on top of it. This is wet. And then why is it placed there? Because there it is. There's that mountain range in the background. So the mountain range is in the background. They are facing this way. They're facing this way, and then they're seeing this mountain range over here. So this battle is taking place in the marshes, and that also lines up well with the characters' HP and what their levels would be, according to the next images that we will see. So what we have is a very interesting landmark that's new to Rebirth. Who knows what the heck's going on there? But the characters so far the party has come from here all the way here. This is a very large open world, or at least an area. They come out or into the Mithril Mines here maybe, and then out here. And then they come out there. We have no pictures that represent this area, the Fort Condor area. But we do have a picture that this is the easiest one to place, obviously. This is, of course, Junon. They're right outside of Junon. It almost looks as if they follow this, if they follow this path, they head right into Junon. But how close are they to Junon? That's my question, right? So here's Junon on the world map. There's Junon. It's right here. Are they here on this world map? Are they here? Getting close to it. Is this going to be a dotted line? You cross that dotted line, you enter the fully realized city. That's a question for another video, but I'm curious of your thoughts. So chime in the comments. Do you believe we will see gated areas that lead to the major cities like Midgar, Junon, the Gold Saucer, things like that? Are we going to see gated areas like in Final Fantasy 16 that, you know, then you enter the stage, or you enter the city that's off in the distance? You're not allowed to go into the city until you've loaded in, you know, like it makes it a fully realized city at that point. Because you gotta think, Midgar was a fully realized city in Remake. I don't think they're just going to plop that into an open world. I've made a full video on why I believe that is not going to be the case, because of the fact that the Chocobo farm from Midgar is 300 miles. Well, you can watch that video. I'll put it at the end of the video if you want to click on that. But anyways, that's what I have for that. Now, this kind of gets interesting here. This is probably, I saved the interesting one for last. What's going on? Where is this? Where is this happening at? Because we see Midgar. We see Midgar back there. Okay? I've found out, like, through some little, you know, I just want to make sure I am right. So correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But I tried my best to make sure I'm right here. This is north. That is facing north. The reason why is because the front of Midgar, this is the front of Midgar. When you do that camera angle in the beginning, the opening, Final Fantasy VII opening, it starts here, pans out this way, and then you look at it, and then you zoom back in. This is Reactor 1, Mako Reactor 1. Also, to take note is that the Sister Ray cannon is fired north towards the northern crater, towards Diamond Weapon, who is in front of the northern crater. So, this is north, right? It doesn't look like Midgar is angled in any way. This looks like you're looking at Midgar directly from the side. It's not tilted. It's not north, you know, not facing northwest. It is directly, that's north. Because if it was, it would look a little bit like, oh wait, that's not the right one. Sorry about that. It would look a little bit like this if I can find the image. Oh my goodness, where did it go? Right there. That looks like it's at, that's at an angle. You can see, you know, man, I don't know. All right. It's enough of that, because look at this. If Midgar is right here, of course, it would be angled at a northwest, pointing at this, and of course, right to the shoreline here. Maybe it's the curvature of the Earth, and then it finally makes its way up there. God, that's kind of crazy. Did they account for the curvature of the planet to shoot at? This is where the weapon comes into shore. They fire the cannon that way, and then it heads directly to the northern crater, eliminating the force field that's around that. That's kind of cool. If they had to visualize the curvature of the planet in order for that beam to hit it. Oh my gosh. So anyways, I guess it's slightly at an angle in that case. Slightly at an angle. And that I can kind of believe is maybe at a slightly at an angle. But yeah. So if that's the case, if we're looking at it directly from the side, two different viewpoints. If we're looking at it directly from the side, that would place this image over this way. Because then you're looking at it directly from the side. Or over here somewhere. Looking at it directly from the side. My original thought would be, because this is a raised land right here. This little raised land, and then this matches that raised land. I believe we're right here. Looking at Midgar behind these mountains. Right there. As Midgar is kind of nestled within these mountains, this mountain range. So that puts us on this side of things. This is where I believe we are. That's where I believe this image is. So what's kind of cool is, what are we doing over here? What are we doing over here across this river? This is where the sleeping man is, I believe, somewhere right here. What are we doing over this way already? How did we get over there? I don't believe that it would be back here, but I guess that's a possibility as well. But I think we're getting too far from Midgar in order for it to be visualized, like to be visible on the world map, on the horizon, I guess. It just seems like it's too far, and I also didn't notice any river in the image. See, like, I don't think it's that far away. So we're over here. This is different from the original game. This body of water did not exist. It was more of just a little bit of a river. That's a big like lake almost. Yeah. So I think that's very fascinating. I think what makes it so fascinating is the landmarks, or the you know, very clearly the shape of the land is matching what we're seeing in the game, like the terrain of the land. It's very you can see the terrain in this one a lot better than you ever could before on any world map. You can see the terrain, you can see the rivers. What kind of mountains? Are they hills? Are they mountains? What is this? What is this pathway here? This almost looks like it could be a pathway to go from this side to over here, and maybe that's how they end up over this way. Yeah, what this opens up, that means this is opened up for exploration, which blows my mind, because if this was, I mean, it could still be zoned like Final Fantasy 16. Whereas, like, let's just say, you know, this area here is explorable. You go through some dotted lines, you end up over here, and blah 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 blah. But we're gonna talk about that in so much detail in a future video where I'm going to do that kind of stuff. But for now, look at this. I've lined up these pictures so well, but here's the one that really makes it seem like, yeah, they were taking this asset into consideration, because this mountain range had never existed in any Final Fantasy VII game. What in the heck is that? And there it is in Ever Crisis world map. So they've taken this into consideration. Very, very cool. Last thing I'm going to end this with, it's going to tie directly into the next Final Fantasy VII Rebirth map analysis video, is this one right here. And you knew it was coming. This image right here, I've placed it over on the western continent. And the reason being is very simple. Right there, as you can see, Cloud's max health is about 4,200 something, and then if you go over to the that's what I brought that up for earlier, the cargo ship, Cloud's max health is 1688. So very very obvious that time, or the story, has progressed. They've leveled up. They're almost near endgame here. This is almost near endgame. Maybe not near endgame, but like, yeah, at least halfway through this game. 4,000 is the max health now. So where does that line up? I believe that's got to be on the western continent, right over here. It could very well be over here on Wutai, and they, you know, there's a whole lot more to it. It could be like after getting the tiny Bronco or crash landing over here, or whatever, right? You go to Wutai. Yeah, man, like there's a lot to consider with this one, but the most important detail that we're going to talk about in the next video is right there. 11,000 meters away. 11,000 meters away is the objective. So that's our next video. That's the next video. Yeah. And okay, why did I place it on the western? For more detail, is this mountain range back here. What's really cool about mountain ranges and the details that we've seen is that we can kind of pinpoint where it is on the map based on the mountain range, because Nibelheim has a very particular mountain style, right? It's very pointy. And then over on this side, this is snow-capped, and you can tell those kind of mountains over there, the snow-capped mountains. Of course, in the Cosmo Canyon, they're red rock and, you know, a canyon. But right here, it's got to be either Wutai. It's either Wutai Mountains or the Coral Mountains. And I'm leaning towards Coral Mountains because in Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core Reunion, they had a map from the Coral Mines, or the Mount Coral, for the side quests. And those mountains look like that. Granted, it was more of a desert, sandy area, but the mountains were very blocky, like square shaped. And it kind of matched up. And the fact that there's some sort of Shinra structure over here. More some sort of like technical yeah, like a Shinra type structure right there. Industrial structure, that's the word I'm looking for. That makes me think it's not Wutai, because Wutai wouldn't have none of that. So yeah, I believe this is coral, and that detail will come into play pretty important in my next video. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed that. What do you guys think of that? What do you think? It's kind of interesting, right? Gosh, 20 minutes? I didn't expect that. I was just trying to make a quick video. I can't help it. I talk about Final Fantasy VII. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. And be sure to subscribe, because we're going to be looking at this map some more. So, take care now. Bye-bye then. Oh, you know what? I don't have a detailed rundown of my Patreons and coffee supporters, but thank you so much for supporting us. It really means a lot to me. Since I'm doing this video directly from Streamlabs, I don't have the names ready on hand this time around, but in the next video I'll be sure to list the names. Thank you so much for that. Our icon, Badly Brave. Thank you. Take care now. Bye.